Look, there's a really important conversation to have right now about the gaming industry, and especially what is console exclusivity. It's, I would argue, the primary reason that you are playing on PlayStation, that you are playing on Xbox, that you are playing on Nintendo. Maybe there are other reasons, but that is an intrinsic one. And we are at the beginning of a big change on that, dude, because we now see the confirmation of 4 Xbox first-party titles that were once exclusive that are now coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch over the next 2 months. It is now confirmed what those 4 titles are, and that is Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, and Sea of Thieves. And the Xbox Wire just released this article that just kind of summarizes, Pentiment February 22nd, Hi-Fi Rush, and so on, just what platforms, and it is all over. It is all over these platforms, and a lot of people have been saying, this is a big nothing burger. I've literally had people in my very own community go, man, I can't believe how many people just blew this way out of proportion, and they did, but we have experienced the past 20 years of what was known as the console wars. I would even argue the past 30 years, if you go all the way back to Nintendo versus Sega. That was the beginning, honestly. And a big defining thing of console wars is the exclusives that you can play on that system. You cannot play Sonic on Nintendo consoles. You cannot play Mario on Sega systems. That was the beginnings, and that changed. And look what Sega is now. And this is not me teasing at okay, this is somebody that's going to go into how everybody's going to become a third-party publisher. It's more than that. But that is an important thing to consider. Because a lot of people, again, have been saying this is a big nothing burger. But when you think about this, this is dipping the toes in the water for Xbox. And there's another thing with PlayStation that I'm about to mention, that they too are about to follow this analogy of dipping their toes in the water. And what does that mean? These 4 titles, Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, Pentiment, and Sea of Thieves, they are coming to these other systems. Some already have millions of players, like Grounded and Sea of Thieves. Those are reliant on the amount of players, and they're going to support them with cross-play and cross-saves, which I think is really cool. And I'm really happy to see those communities expand. They were console exclusives, and these all are first-party titles and first entries to these franchises. Not really established franchises, they're just new entries. So it's not like you're seeing Halo or Gears of War or God of War or Mario come to these other systems. Nintendo's going to be 20 years behind this, so don't worry. But it is the testings. 10 years ago, you would have never saw, maybe 15 years ago, you never would have heard people in charge of Xbox and PlayStation go, oh yeah, we're going to release our games day and date to PC. They would never have said that 10 or 15 years ago. Ever. But now you even see not only Xbox, boasting about how fast PC Game Pass is growing over their console Game Pass, but now you even see Helldivers 2, a first-party PlayStation IP. There's so many people that keep calling it indie and not first party. It's a first party, it's AA, and it is having amazing success as PlayStation's first Steam title that was released day and date alongside the PlayStation Edition. I don't believe that's happened before, correct me if I'm wrong, and it is having fantastic success. And if you think that PlayStation isn't going to respond to that, you would be wrong, because you already see higher up executives saying we would love to experiment with other platforms. Now, they use the word other consoles, other platforms, whatever, and that's vague for now, but Xbox is taking that big first step by releasing these 4 titles. These 4 titles that Sea of Thieves has been exclusive to Xbox/PC for over 6 years, and the rest of these are pretty new. Grounded's maybe 2-ish, maybe 3 years, depending on what you think of early access, and Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment are really new. But they are coming to the other systems, and they are testing the waters. And if the waters feel warm, if the waters treat them well, if the player base exponentially grows, there was a video I did about how I thought it's probably not going to happen, but I'm just saying Halo Infinite could be one of these community games that Xbox told us previously. There's going to be 2 community games and 2 like kind of not meant to be flagship titles, so to speak, at least for now. But this is the beginning. In that podcast, Phil Spencer and everybody that are in charge of Xbox were saying, at the end of the day, this is a method to keep funding our franchises, to keep funding our creators, and to keep creating. And maybe, let's say Hi-Fi Rush does well. Fantastic game. Like, seriously, one of my Game of the Year nominees, basically. I was debating about it. And this might be a way that helps fund a sequel to the game if it finds success. And it's also a way that we might be transitioning to the next era. These guys the higher ups are giving these statements of other platforms, other consoles, opening mobile divisions, opening their own new stores, and so on and so forth. They are expanding. And by the time the next generation hits, I fully believe, and let me know if you disagree, that will be the last console, so to speak, generation. You will probably, by then at least, probably see maybe God of War and Spider-Man really stay in date on PC. You might see certain Halo and Gears of War titles released on PlayStation maybe a year later. It's that method of giving these other player bases of 50 million PS5 owners the potential to check out what is going on over at Xbox and where you can get it first. And they outline the benefits. You still get day one releases on Game Pass. You get the biggest games. You will get all of our first party stuff. They outline the benefits, but what about exclusivity? That is a big factor. That Final Fantasy VII Rebirth might be the reason you are primarily playing on a PlayStation 5 for the next month or two. Maybe the next Gears of War will be the primary reason you are playing an Xbox. Exclusivity was a big deal. And now these 4 titles are coming to other platforms, and I can guarantee you it's just the beginning, unless they just do terribly on there. But I don't see why they would. There's a lot of optimism about it. And so that begs the question, what the hell is going to be the competition next? What is the way that these consoles are going to compete with each other? It's the content war. It's different strategies that these guys are going to do to hopefully get you on PS Plus, to get you on Game Pass, to just get you in their ecosystem that they can get 100% instead of 70%. And how they're going to do that is in this video.